I'm Steve Lascalzo, and this is The Way. Welcome to This is The Way podcast. Zeb in live action. Live action Star Wars. It was him, all right. He was right there in the credits. I mean, it doesn't say Garazeb Orellios. It just says Zeb. But the Lasat does appear in that Rebel pilot outpost. Last week, we get Kelleran Beq and Ahmed best. This week, we see Zeb. And we hear Steve Bloom's voice. What a great couple of weeks of Star Wars, huh? All right, you're going to hear my first impressions of the latest episode of The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 5. I liked it. Mostly.
Very well.
The second half of the season starts with Chapter 21, and Peter Ramsey directed. He's got a long career in production, in art department roles, and then he directed a TV movie, then a feature film called Rise of the Guardians, also animated, then a little movie from Marvel that, was pretty successful. He was the director of Into the Spider-Verse. Most of his directing work has been in animation, but with the amount of computer graphics in The Mandalorian and with the success that Dave Filoni has had transitioning from the Clone Wars to live action, yes, with help, but it's not so far-fetched anymore that we would, get this kind of excitement. I will say, however, this latest episode does feel a lot like a cartoon to me. It's possible my feelings about it were swayed a little bit by a switch in my TV viewing habits this morning. Usually, I don't watch The Bad Batch until after I finish putting together this First Impressions podcast on the week's Mandalorian episode. Because today was the 2-part finale of the second season of The Bad Batch, I decided to watch that first just in case there was some kind of tie-in between the 2 episodes of that and then the episode of The Mandalorian, just so I would know about it. Well, if there's a hidden one, maybe, but they do take part in very different parts of the Star Wars timeline, so there's not really a direct connection that I can find, but it felt like the structure was similar. I forgot that Peter Ramsey was directing this latest Mandalorian episode until I was reminded when his name popped up at the end. The word that popped into my head, though, was convenient. I'm not sure I have a really good explanation for that, but that's just kind of how I felt about the episode.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
My wife asked me, what'd you think when she woke up? What did you think about the episode? And I told her the same thing, but then I think I may have hit on something. There was not that much Grogu in this episode. I don't need all Grogu all the time. But he is very cute and endearing, and that bond between Din Djarin and him is one of the most appealing aspects of this show to me. And it's been there since, the ending of episode 1. So maybe that's part of it.
Everything's gonna be alright, kid.
The first thing I do is I make sure I watch the previously on segments. And this is one of the few shows that I let remind me of what's happened. I mean, I usually will skip through. Ted Lasso, I'll do that as well. I feel like it just gets you into the mood. It does telegraph the episode for you on purpose, right? I mean, they're trying to remind you, but I still find that I'm surprised. We see Moff Gideon as we're hearing Din Djarin talk about winning the Darksaber. If you've seen the episode, we don't see him in this episode. He doesn't have the Darksaber anymore either. But do the people who rescued him know that he lost it in combat? Do they even care? Do they really think he's the rightful ruler of Mandalore? We hear in the previously on about Bo-Katan fulfilling the highest honor of the Creed. I've been wondering since her surprise redemption if she was finally going to earn her spot as a leader. Well, we see that developed.
Bo-Katan Kryze, you have honored your house and all of Mandalore. You have done the highest honor of the Creed, saving a foundling.
The segment even reminds us not just about Greef Karga and Nevarro, but specifically this offer for land and how this is an independent planet, but that the land was coming with a promise or an expectation. And not just that, we see the pirates again, from the streets right up to the space battles and Gorian Shard's ship. The peace of the streets and the meeting with the engineers at the beginning, that was good enough to remind us that things are different now, but this time when I saw the protocol droid, it just annoyed me.
Ah, yes. Well, you're being hailed, sir.
The voice just annoys me. I can't tell you why, it just does. And yeah, Gorian Shard did a little bit too, to be honest. But I did notice the Han Solo reference between Karga and him. Who shot first? Well, your helmsman did. And, well, now Gorian is going to shoot first.
Are you sure that's a good idea? Nevarro is now under the protection of the New Republic.
My charts indicate that Nevarro is an independent world. You are no longer under the protection of Moff Gideon.
The Spinward Patrol passes through here regularly.
The New Republic can't even protect the Mid-Rim from the pirate nation.
The scene shifts over to the Rebel outpost, and I don't know what planet it is, but it looked very China Beach, Forrest Gump. I mean, it seemed coded as like Vietnam to me. I mean, I love the Y-Wing flying in. Don't get me wrong. I never had an X-Wing growing up. I only had a Y-Wing. So I always loved seeing them. It coming in and landing. It just felt like it was coded that way as Vietnam. I liked the games being played in the officer canteen. And I also liked the trophies of the helmets. And there was like a droid, sentry droid looking thing. And then there were some helmets of stormtroopers and other stuff. I liked that. It was a very, warlike or I don't want to say VFW post kind of a feel to it. Because that's not really fair. But it seemed like, this was a real lived-in space. And I didn't notice it first. But I saw the credits and then I went back and I'm surprised I missed Dave Filoni, Rick Famuyiwa, and Deborah Chow in the bar. They are indeed reprising their roles as X-Wing pilots Trapper Wolf, Jib Dodger, and Sash Ketter. I got distracted easily by the action happening in the background instead of the foreground of the shot. But then it was the Lasat that came in. That was what really caught my attention. Look, it was Zeb right away. I mean, I was going to give myself some room to accept that it wasn't, but then I heard the voice. I mean, the voice was there. Steve Bloom indeed was credited. And how cool is it? Paul Sun-Hyung Lee gets to be the first to share the screen in live action with Zeb.
I like your attitude. Good luck. You're going to need it.
I also really liked the hologram message. I mean, it wasn't quite Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. But it was, he just kind of almost bend over to that droid to either record the message or send the message or however he was doing it. I don't know how it got to him, but it does. And, holograms are part of Star Wars. And so I really like that. And I like that Carson Teva was not just showing, he was not just doing his job. He actually cares about what is happening in the outer rim or the mid rim or wherever his, patrol area is. He's everything that's right about the New Republic. And we know a lot is going wrong. I was a little off-put, though, when he goes to Coruscant and then sees Tim Meadows. I don't dislike the actor. I mean, far from it. I was wary of the character. And then I think, at least when I watched it more, I thought that the nonchalance, the same kind of nonchalance that he has in all his characters from SNL, I don't think it was that over the top on retrospect. And it really fits with this really ineffective requisitions officer. I'm still waiting to see what Christopher Lloyd is going to play.
Captain Tava here to see Colonel Tuttle. It'll only be a while.
Seeing Elia Kane in this office makes a lot of sense as to how she had that quick access to yellow travel biscuits for Dr. Pershing. But she better not hurt the captain, though. I did like seeing the character, and I liked the tension that came through. But the Rodian desk jockey in the scene was played by Dawn Denninger. So she's playing another Rodian. She likes to play them, apparently. But it's my contention that this is the Rodian mom's job. The one that took her daughter to Tatooine in the Book of Boba Fett on the same transport as Din Djarin. and then the one that was in Monument Plaza with her daughter watching The Magician. Her daughter in the plaza was played by the same actress in the Book of Boba Fett, so Denninger likes to play Rodians. I think it's the same one. That's my headcanon, at least.
It's okay. He can stay.
I was wondering how it was possible at all that Teva would be able to find this covert. Knowing that the pirates were already in the episode, I was trying to think, how are they going to make this make sense? I know this is coming, right? So I suspected that the scenes left from the planet where Din Djarin comes walking out, is Din Djarin here? And he's coming out to meet someone, but how is he going to find him? It turns out Favreau wrote R5-D4 as a rat. How very dare this droid?
What? How very dare you?
The meeting of the covert and the holding of the hammer thing with the speech in the fire, I like that. I can't imagine anyone really thought Paz Vizsla was going to shut down Din, though. And I saw it coming, but I probably would have been shocked if he didn't rally the rest of the covert. That would have probably been more surprising to me than this turn that he supposedly takes during the speech. I mean, first, we saw as much in the trailer, right? I mean, that could have been played differently. Like, you go it alone. We don't want to join you. And then they think about it and show up to save the day. But I like this much better.
The question we should be asking ourselves is why? Why should we lay our lives down yet again? Because we are Mandalorians. I have had my disagreements with this man, but he risked his life to save my son. And Bo-Katan Kryze did not give up on my child's life, even when the rest of us did. These two are asking us to take up arms in the name of a brighter future. And I, for one, will take up arms to fight by their side. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Plus, Bo-Katan gets to once again show off her leadership. She is dripping with it. I mean, I love the Nevarro stuff from the Mandos. The air battles, the ground fighting. I didn't think the camp of townspeople was at all believable to me, but I love this dynamic that they're setting up Bo-Katan to take over. But, these townspeople leaving the area, I mean, there didn't seem to be enough of them. This is all that made it out or decided to leave? This is the whole town? Or this is just a big group of the town? I mean, and if they ran because they were afraid, are they the same kind of people that are eventually going to stand up to the remaining pirates that they end up, coming out with makeshift weapons at the end? I like that we didn't see the Mandalorians succeed without any trouble. Like they got a little dinged up, right? I thought it was cool how there was an ice cream maker Camtono thing being carried out as loot by the pirates, and then the monkey lizards were pointing and helping the Mandos avoid walking into a trap.
Possible ambush. Take cover.
The best part of the fighting, though, I thought was the armorer showing up in Karga's office. The shot of her walking in, and we just see her legs and the hammer and tongs there. We've already seen her work over stormtroopers, haven't we? A big smile came across my face when she walked into the scene. I like that the pirates get the beat down, but is there really a tie to Moff Gideon? I mean, Vane getting away, it didn't seem like he was the contact, and I didn't like him being the one to run off and then report. It is poetic when the captain goes down with the ship, but, even if it's a weird-looking sea pirate in space, I still don't like that Vane is always getting away, and he's probably the only one who's going to live to tell Moff Gideon. It was interesting to me that Din Djarin offered the Mandalorians land from Greef. But remember, this landed gentry thing, that was supposed to come with a caveat, like you're supposed to be the lawman. I think by accepting this land, they're basically signing up as protection for Nevarro, but maybe they're okay with that. I wonder if that doesn't make them as much of a target as they were before, though. I mean, we have heard a few times Beskar is very valuable.
Normally I have to seek out remnants of you Mandalorians in your hidden hives to harvest your precious, shiny shells. Beskar's value continues to rise.
So are they really ending the trouble on this planet? I mean, it sounds like they're inviting more. It does sound like Karga is going to honor the saviors of Nevarro with all that land from the western lava flats to Bullock Canyon. Nice nod, I thought, to Jeremy Bullock, the guy in the original Boba Fett suit in the original trilogy. Long before we knew what a Mandalorian was, we just knew this guy is the first of his kind on screen. And then we later had that retcon to him not even being a true Mandalorian. But hey, now we have to question, what does that mean anyway? Bullock Canyon clearly, to me at least, I think that's a clear reference to Jeremy Bullock. The scene with Bo-Katan and the armor in the old Nevarro forge was awesome. And when she told her to take off her helmet, part of me also thought, hey, this is a trap. Or, like, now we have to go see the mines and see this Mythosaur you promised.
Our people have strayed from the way, and it is not enough for a few to walk it. We must walk it together.
This is the way.
We must walk the way together. All Mandalorians.
Then I thought, let me take my helmet off too. And hey, guess what? I'm your sister you thought was dead. I mean, I really had a moment that I thought this was it. We find out who the armorer has been all along. Like, it's actually her mother or something. Could it be? I don't know. Filoni has pulled that Ahsoka lives thing. Like the Frodo lives from the 50s and 60s, the Lord of the Ring. I mean, he's done that already, so why not Satine lives or Clan Kryze lives?
I was taught that the Mythosaur existed only in legends, and yet you saw it. It is a sign that the next age is upon us. Mandalore must all come together. You have walked both worlds. You are the one who can unite us.
I was really hoping that we would hear the armor, like, it's time we both walk paths or both walk both paths. Or maybe she tells the group, like, let's all take our helmets off now. I mean, as it is, I gotta imagine some of them are having trouble accepting this. If for nothing else, then, hey, why does she get to do it? Why don't I get to do this too? We've been told for a few seasons now, you can't take it off. There's consequences. And now, the armorer hears, just last episode, there's a Mythosaur, and I've seen it, and she's like, okay, time to take the helmet off now.
But she shows her face.
Bo-Katan walks both worlds. And she can bring all tribes together.
I'm sure they're going to explain it. I'm sure there's a reason for it. And so I'm very much excited to see what is going to happen going forward, especially since there's no footage from the trailers left. But oh my gosh, the alien-looking scene of Teva, or Carson Teva, coming up on the derelict Lambda-class shuttle, it was so obvious that we were going to eventually hear that Gideon never made it to trial. But this aliens nod, it was really nice and super creepy with the dark ship and the skin, the R2 unit, like R7, I guess, sends out the probe, and
there appears to be something embedded in the cabin wall. Getting close on that. It's a fragment of Beskar alloy.
Are you saying that Moff Gideon was taken by Mandalorians?
Bo-Katan is going to go round up these other Mandalorians. What are they doing breaking out Gideon? Did they do it to make him pay? Probably not. That would, oh yeah, we killed him. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, we know that Giancarlo Esposito is going to show up, but are they really on his side? I mean, do they think he's really still the rightful ruler? We know he lost the Darksaber, but Gideon seems like a good liar. Maybe he spins this tale to the Mandos and says it wasn't a fair fight, or he didn't yield. Anyway, 3 more episodes to go, and next week, Bryce Dallas Howard directs.
There's a real responsibility working with these kinds of characters and these kinds of stories and circumstances and all of that, because it is meaningful to so many people.
All right, those are my initial thoughts on Season 3, Episode 5 of The Mandalorian. If this is your first time listening, thank you. If you've been with us a long time, thank you. This podcast has gone from 3 friends talking about this new show on Disney Plus to monthly news updates covering several different shows, and we're still enjoying taking a close look at this show, now in its 3rd season. It isn't easy. It takes time. Thankfully, I have training from my time in television sports broadcasting and a couple of degrees from the University of Florida, but hey, anyone can do it. You can do this too. I wanted a podcast because I just wanted people to talk about Star Wars. Maybe there's something you like that you want to talk about too, but like me, no one around you wants to talk about Star Wars or about your thing. Well, I'm here to tell you, someone does want to listen. You're listening to me, and for me, you are the listeners are the reason I'm doing this. If you want to listen to more podcasts like mine, well, consider showing your support. Like our posts on social media, rate us highly, subscribe wherever you can, engage with us by sending in your thoughts, and you can find out how to do that by checking out our list of links at Linktree. That's linktr.ee/thisisthewaypod. Thanks for listening to This Is The Way Podcast's first impressions of Season 3, Episode 5 of The Mandalorian, The Pirate. I'm your host, Steve Lascalzo. May the Force be with you, always.